By now, it should be obvious. But we do not bully easily, we do not intimidate, and we will not be silenced. I find it absolutely remarkable that a journalist, a so-called journalist, is attempting to censor me. But we need to understand why he's attempting to censor me, and why others are attempting to censor and silence the people of the town. I had finished yesterday, and when I finished, at the time when I finished, all of you will know, I shared the information that I was receiving, but Councillor Arooj Shah was going to be imminently crowned the leader of Oldham Council. Well, the council, the Labour group, met today for their AGM. Monday morning they met. Unfortunately for the town, the decision had already been made the night before the actual Labour group met as to who was going to be the leader of the council. And gangsters and dodgy journalists who think we're scared. Why don't you come and find me, Wilby? Come here. Come to Oldham. Come on. Bring your gangsters with you. Come on. Let's have it out. Let's see what you've got. Let's see what you and the rest of those idiots you hang around with have got. The town will not be silenced. The town will have its say on what it thinks of this woman being elected the leader of our council. This is not North Korea. This is not Nazi Germany. I started receiving calls last night, and it was because, I'll put it up, it was because Irish Immy was already celebrating. Remember, the Labour group had yet to meet. The Labour group had yet to meet. And it already started celebrating. I need to find something on my camera to make this work for you. Here we go. I've just ordered a Chinese for iftar and opened a fortune cookie. So I'd like to be the first to congratulate our very first Asian female leader of Oldham Council, Councillor Arooj Shah. No one is more truly deserving of this position. I know you'll work for all our communities and go above and beyond for anyone in hardship. Have you done for me since 2016? I thought she was your childhood friend rather than 2016, but what do I know? You've been there for me always. See that about the truth? See that about the truth? Childhood friend? If she's your childhood friend, mate, why has she been there since 2016? You've been there for me always, and my support for you is unconditional. Powerful words. My support for you is unconditional. That is code. For anyone who doesn't want or doesn't understand, that is code. You make me and all those who are blessed enough to know you proud. It truly feels that justice has been done. Oh, sorry, justice has been served. This is the bit. For those of you who don't feel she warrants your support, you must be a complete piece of shit. You don't want to see me that close. Do you see? The news was breaking yesterday that Arooj Shah was going to be the leader of the council. The Labour Party met this morning. alongside Irishimi, the usual suspects, the Mushtaq, and Neil Wilby. Why is it that a disgraced so-called journalist fined £78,000 for libel for fabricating allegations about a police officer, for being described as a malicious blogger? Why is it that he has the news before credible, and I use that term loosely, credible media sources? That is a dangerous sign, that message from Irishimi, and no one should be in any doubt what that means. Gangsters now control Oldham Council. The council is now controlled by gangsters. Throughout yesterday and today, I'd been getting calls. I'd been getting calls from my friends in the Labour Party. The first call came from a friend of mine in the Labour Party, a close associate of a senior Oldham councillor, Labour councillor. And he told me what had taken place. You reap what you sow, don't you? You reap what you sow. He shared with me what had taken place. Thank you, Paul, for the coffees again. Thank you. And please, if you can, buy me a coffee. I rushed home. I was at a meeting. People said, so I got a couple of messages. Are you running late? I am. I'm having to try and get a job so I can earn a living to feed myself and my kid. It's as simple as that. Regardless of all the lies they told about me. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I'm living hand to mouth like many of us. I'm not complaining. But I've spent my entire life earning my own money. And I do this for no other reason than I love my town and I love the people in my town. And I think I genuinely believe we deserve better. Labour Party sources, Oldham Council Labour Party sources told me this is how it had played out. On the very night of the election, as Sean Fielding was leaving the Civic Centre, within moments, Arooj Shah and her associates were having a conversation. You've got to go for it. But to go for it, they need to eliminate the opposition. So it will come as no surprise that after the Gangsters posted on Sunday night and the phone calls had gone around and the intimidation happened last time, clear, I proved it, I demonstrated it, I shared the Facebook post where Irishimi named the Asian councillors who didn't support his childhood friend from 2016. Where he singled out Councillor Feeder and Shoaib Akhtar for not standing and applauding vigorously enough and warned what would happen to them. I'm not making any of this up. This is why Wilby and his mates wants to silence me, because none of the mainstream media will make reference to any of this. They'd like to focus on the nonsense, the things that don't matter, to try and build barriers so we can't criticise. She's a woman, so if I criticise her, I'm a misogynist. She's Muslim, so if I criticise her, I'm anti-Muslim. She's an ethnic minority, so if I criticise her, I'm racist. This is a consequence. We are where we are as a consequence of all the wrong actions that have led us here. Arooj Shah did not become leader of the council by a fluke or by some mistake. No, Arooj Shah became leader of the council through a consequence of decisions made by Labour councillors, Oldham council officials and opposition councillors. Arooj Shah stood unopposed because, one, the other councillors were scared of. Would you want to stand against her when your best mate is Irish Immy and she's got Neil Wilby on tap to harass and intimidate people? Remember, Wilby, proven. He was identifying who my supporters were by name and publishing their names. It's like something out of some communist book. I've got a book of communists. It's McCarthyism. Scandalous. So I'm not surprised that Dr. Chauhan withdrew. And then, this is why we reap what we sow, people. The white councillors in Oldham, the Labour white councillors, who for generations had played one ethnic minority against another and cleaned up through the middle, tried to encourage Dr. Chauhan to stand against her, hoping he'd split the vote between him and Arooj Shah, and through the middle, Amanda Chadderton would become leader of the council. This is a ploy they'd successfully used in Oldham East and Saddleworth, when Riaz and Abdul Jabbar stood against each other to become the MP, split the vote, and through the middle, Debbie Abrahams came, a woman who had no connection to the town. So the Asian councillors, you reap what you sow, even the good ones, said, 1, who wants to get involved in this shitstorm with Irish Immy knocking on my door? 2, who wants to draw the wrath of Wilby and looking into their affairs? And third of all, who wants to be a victim of this white racist game where they've divided and ruled us? So they all opted out. And what now happens is this woman with clear gangster links is the leader of Oldham Council. And her mates were announcing it before the meeting had even took place today. This is just... And the Chronicle publishes something. Her first priority is to clean up the streets. Her first priority is to clean up the streets. I'm being told that legal action is being taken against me by Neil Wilby. They're trying to close me down on YouTube. They're trying to close down my Facebook account. This is the same Neil Wilby who's been found at fault by Twitter multiple times for his harassment and bullying and hate speech. This is the same Neil Wilby who have now found out that formal invitation that went out to have Wilby and Irish Immy at the count of our election would have to have been signed off by senior council officers, including Dr. Carolyn Wilkins, the chief executive. This indeed is a dark, dark day for the town. What they want to do is intimidate and silence you from speaking out and from asking questions. So, to my Labour friends who have contacted me scared, councillors, because they can't speak out now in the chamber, to my Conservative friends, to those in the Lib Dems who've contacted me, at the first council meeting, Are you going to stand up and denounce her? Are you going to do what the town wants you to do? Because the town is horrified at what has took place. Are you going to stand up and say enough is enough? And you cannot support this gangster's associate from being the leader of the council? Or are you going to stand up and applaud her and pay tribute to her and welcome her and do all of this nonsense? Oh, isn't it nice to have a Muslim woman? Isn't it nice to have a woman? Isn't it nice to have a Pakistani? Oh, this, that. Are you going to show some bottle for the people that represented you and say, no, we cannot endorse and support this? As for Wilby, or Amy, or Mushtaq, or any of the others, you will not silence us. You will not intimidate us. And to my friends, to my townsfolk, all of our nightmares have come true. Everything we feared is now before us. Gangsters openly walk up and down the corridors of the civic centre. And they have their leader on the throne. These are dark days. These are genuinely dark days. The first council meeting is on the 19th of May, is my understanding. Give me a second. Let me just find it out. I think it's important I find it out. Give me 1 second. Councillor Shah will be confirmed as leader at the annual meeting of the council on the 19th of May. And yes, Oldham Cron, I'm reading it. I'm laughing whilst I'm reading it. Makes reference to her woman, the fact she's female, blah, 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 first Muslim, first Asian. Has lived all her life in Glodick. Nothing in the story about Gelatal's Ice Lounge. Nothing in the story about a convicted money laundering brother currently out of the country, waiting to see what happens with others that the police have arrested. Nothing in the story about her association with Neil Wilby, and also that Jenny Harrison openly, she's going to become the mayor. Councillor Jenny Harrison is going to become the mayor. Openly engages with a man who bullies and intimidates people of Oldham. Why is that, Jenny Harrison? You didn't like the truth, did you, about you? So the mayor is an associate of the goons. Councillor Arooj Shah is God knows what. Or how deep her association runs. Amy was there to make a statement, Mark. You are 100% right. He was at the count to make a statement. We rule. We control these corridors. And 2 days later, his childhood friend is crowned leader of the council. And not only is she crowned leader of the council, the gangsters know about it before even the councillors that crowned her. I'd finished yesterday, and I had finished yesterday. I saw Wilby's thing, and you know what? Delete everything you want. Sanction me all you want. Have my YouTube channel closed down. Have my Facebook page shut down. It only proves one thing. We know who is telling the truth. In history, time after time after time, censorship has only proven one thing. Will the Conservatives march out of the council chamber, refusing to endorse her? Because that's what I would do. We know the Lib Dems won't, because they're involved with the Labour lot. Will the Independents show a sign of strength and walk out, or turn their backs, or do something symbolically? Will people of this town gather outside the civic centre? I don't know. I presume it's a virtual meeting, but even if it isn't, will the people of this town gather somewhere? Maybe outside the statue of Annie Kenny, outside the civic centre, or possibly outside Gelato's Ice Lounge. You could have an ice cream. Does it even sell ice cream? If you want your town back, you have to fight for it. If you want your town back, you have to raise your voices. If you want your town back, you must face these tyrants. And to all of my politician friends and council officers who have contacted me, concerned about the information Arooj Shah will now have access to and who she will share that information with. Just think that through. Those are genuine concerns. We cannot This is a defining moment for us. This is a defining moment for the town. We cannot allow this to go unchallenged. Not so that we can change it. I know where we can change it. We'll change it next May, when Arooj Shah stands for election as councillor in South Chadderton. I openly, right now, endorse the Conservative candidate there, Robert. I believe if he stands again, a man with his integrity, honesty, decency will take her out, just like Mark Wilkinson took out Sean Fielding. I do not believe the people of South Chadderton knew anything about Arooj Shah when they elected her. The white people of South Chadderton. And they call you racist, remember? You elected an Asian Muslim woman. You won't now. And as soon as you start voicing opposition, they'll call you racist. The councillors have a decision to make. The council officers who are concerned have a decision to make. Yes, Anita, that is it. Who are the they, Anita? Who are the they? Who will have access to all the intel? It is time for the people to take the town back. New battle started the second we got rid of Sean Fielding. This is what we feared. And what came was actually worse than what we feared. They didn't even care. So brazen were they, not just walking up and down the corridors of power. They made the announcement. They made the announcement. The gangsters announced who was leader of our town. And now the mainstream media won't make any reference to this. The mainstream media won't make any reference for this. And you and I, and senior council officers, senior politicians in this town, have been intimidated into silence. We cannot say anything because Wilby will come and attack us. Or the gangsters will come and get us. And this is how it works. Wilby has been brought in. I am in under no doubt whatsoever. He has no interest or link to my town or its people, apart from through these gangsters. He has been brought in to intimidate those who speak out. And that's what he's been doing for the last few months. He's been naming people. And the gangsters, the Asian gangsters, they won't go after the white people. They are there to intimidate the Asian councillors and the Asian communities from speaking out. And between them and the spectre of racism and anti-Muslim hatred and all the fake isms that these people push, they think we will remain silent and we can be intimidated into silence. What do you think they are now planning now that they're in charge? If you're outraged that they've taken control, just imagine what they are going to do now that they are in control. The 19th. I'll leave it to those who know better than me. Tell me where. Tell me when. And I will join you. We cannot go quietly. It may be that we have lost, but our children and our grandchildren should know that we did not meekly accept this. And when the tyrants took control, we opposed them.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.